George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Dustin Czarny is the elections commissioner on the Democratic side for Onondaga County. There are two. There's one Democratic commissioner and there's a Republican commissioner to make sure that all of the major parties' interests are protected. And so this is a critical weekend for voting and registration. Early voting started yesterday. It was also the last day to register and vote. In fact, they call it Golden Day because you could actually register and vote on the same day because early voting. Now that's new because we didn't have early voting in New York for a long time. But here to break it all down for us and to really understand like what's on the ballot and all that kind of stuff, Dustin Czarny is in the house. We bring Dustin on every year around this time to make sure that you know what's going on and that you're ready to deal. So, Dustin, good to see you. And
good to see you, George.
All right, let's talk about yesterday. First day to early vote, last day to register. What if you missed that deadline?
Well, there's plenty of options. First, you may be registered and you may not even know it. Right. If you're registered anywhere in New York State, you can vote by affidavit ballot. You can check your registration by going to our website, onvote.net. Just enter in your information. It'll find you anywhere in New York State. Even if you're not registered here in Onondaga County, if you are registered somewhere in New York State, you can vote by affidavit ballot here in Onondaga County and move your registration up to Onondaga County. But if you're not registered anywhere, and this happens, it's the end of the month, right? And people move on November 1st and they don't, that doesn't mean that they don't get a right to vote. So you can still register to vote by court order. So we'll have judges on call and on election day ready to hear your case. You just come down to our Board of Elections office, 1000 Erie Boulevard West. We're open whenever early voting is open, which, by the way, is going on right now. It's 9 to 5 on Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 6 on Monday, Thursday and Friday, and then noon to 8 on Tuesday and Wednesday. And of course, next weekend, 9 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. We're open during those hours, but we always open at 8:30 a.m. on the weekdays as well. So you can come in, have a judge hear your case, and they can order you to be able to vote as well. So there is still an option if you have a reasonable reason of why you weren't able to meet the Saturday deadline.
That will be to register to vote. I wanted to go over some of the early voting precincts because I received something that didn't have Town of DeWitt listed, but Town of DeWitt is still a voting early registration place. Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't from you. No, it wasn't from you.
Okay, good.
Right. I just feel like I said, it was a community list.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And DeWitt Town Hall was not listed. So let's talk about some of the.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Let's list the 10 early voting sites, right? So we have DeWitt Town Hall, Clay Town Hall, Camillus Fire Station, Southwest Community Center, Syracuse Community Connections, Armand Magnorelli, and Lafayette. Those are the 6 original early voting sites that we got back in 2019. We added 4 more sites to be ready for this presidential, and they've been used for a couple of years. Lysander Municipal Building, North Syracuse Community Center, Beecham Library, and and OCC, Mulway Hall. So we have a nice spread all over the county to try to alleviate some of the lines that we saw in 2020. That being said, it's a presidential year, so we have launched a new tool on our website on onvote.net. We are listing the wait times at all early voting centers, trying to be as up to date as possible to give you an idea of how long the wait may be. You may decide, because you can go to any site, that if you have the ability and you want to drive away from DeWitt or Clay, which are heavy sites, and go to some of these other sites that might have less traffic, that is your ability to do that.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. And just to clarify for people, even if you could register, you can vote anywhere at any one of those 10 sites, no matter where you live. And I only mentioned DeWitt Town Hall because I know that that was one of the original sites. And again, on this brochure that I was looking at, it wasn't listed. It wasn't from the Board of Elections. So let's be clear about that. But that's the beauty of the early voting, is the fact that you can vote anywhere. And I think I'm going. So yesterday, I don't have my I voted sticker, Dustin, but I did go down to the Southwest Community Center, which is one of the voting sites, because there's a lot of activities. You know, some of the organizations are doing get out the vote rallies at some of these sites. And so there was one at Beach Jump, and there's one over at McChesney up on the north side, and of course the southwest. And so there was a lot of activity around those particular sites. And so I had the opportunity to vote there, even though that is not my home site, is what I basically.
You know, a note about Southwest Community Center, Syracuse Community Connections. The room that we normally are in, as you know, because you went there, is under construction. So you got to go. We're going to be in the main lobby, but we're going to be set up and ready to go. And there's signs all over directing people where to go. So if you see the door you went in last year or the year before is closed, you just go in the main entrance, and we're right in the lobby there at Southwest Community Center.
And good that you pointed that out, because that would have thrown some people off. They used to going around the side, and there were lines before. There've been lines all over, and especially since there are events at some of these locations. Well, there won't be an event on today. Today you could just go, but it's important. Now I got some good news for you.
What's that?
So my daughter, I have 3 daughters. They're all out of town, and at least one has already voted. So you should have a ballot in your possession by now, and they have done their civic duty. So we're excited about that.
That's a good segue. Let's talk about vote by mail, because over 30,000 people in Onondaga County have already requested an absentee ballot, and it is one of the fastest growing. Or early vote by mail. That is the fastest growing segment of our populace. And you may think, oh, it's too late to get an early vote by mail, because the deadline also was Saturday to request one and have it be guaranteed that we mail it to you. But you can still get one in person. So you can come to our Board of Elections and request an absentee ballot. And you can also have someone come down with a note from you or a filled out application allowing them to pick up an absentee ballot. So if you've gotten sick or you're unable to go to the polls, even the early voting centers, you can still get an early vote by mail ballot. You don't need an excuse. Just somebody has to come down with a completed application by you. You can print that off at our website, or a note with all your information allowing somebody to pick up the ballot for you.
Dustin Czarny, Democratic Elections Commissioner for Onondaga County, talking about all of the things you need to know to make sure you're ready to vote on this very, very critical election. And speaking of which, I know that the Board of Elections, you were backlogged for some time. Are you all caught up now?
Oh yeah, we've been caught up for several weeks now. It was a tremendous amount of voter registration and vote by mail that came in the month of September. There was a huge enthusiasm around the national campaign when there was a big switch from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris, as well as a lot of activity around vote by mail that all came in within this middle of September time period. So we got a little backed up, but we worked very hard to get cleared up, and we've been processing daily since the beginning of October, and are continuing to process whatever comes in the day, getting it out that same day.
A lot of concern about election integrity, meaning how concerned are you that your diligence and work is going to be questioned?
Well, it kind of comes with the job, unfortunately, now. Election denialism has gone rampant around the country. And, elections are made up of humans. Anything that humans are responsible for, no matter how many checks, double checks, or anything, there could be a hiccup or a mistake or something like that. But it's always correctable, and it's always able to figure out. Now, it's a presidential election. We're going to have well over 250,000 people in Onondaga County decide to vote in this election, whether it's by mail or early or on election day. So there's going to be lines. There's going to be, there's going to be people that are coming to the polls who maybe have not voted in 4 years, and so they have to do affidavit ballots. There's a lot of things that are gonna are moving, with this election. We're just going to work as hard as we can, and as long as the public gets their ballot and are able to cast their vote, that's our goal, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
What's the norm? If you said 250,000 is going to vote, what's the norm?
Well, so we have 317,000 voters in Onondaga County, which is a record, and it's growing every day.
And that's regardless of party. That's just voters.
Regardless of party.
Yeah.
Normally, we get about 75 to 76% turnout in Onondaga County for a presidential election, but a local year, like an odd year, that's like 30 to 40%, and a midterm year is 60%. So it's this is the granddaddy. This is the big one. Everybody comes out for this one. They may not vote every year, but they vote on presidential. So they're coming. That's really, really a big amount of people that will be coming.
And that's why I think taking advantage of early voting is so critical. Who wants to be in lines on election day? But there are some people, Dustin, that are steadfast and committed to voting only on election day. And what have you heard are the reasons for that?
Well, tradition, and I know even like my wife loves voting on election day. She takes it on. It's an event, and that's okay, by the way. If that's what you want to do it.
Right.
I want to early vote, but this year I made the choice to early vote by mail because I knew that I'm going to be glued to my office here. I'm not going to be leaving unless I'm leaving on an emergency, and I don't have time to even sit in a 10-minute line, other than that. So I usually prefer to early vote, but this year I did early vote by mail because I realized that there is, there's too much going on in my life. So those three options are all valid. All of them work. They all are proven. We've been doing this since 2019 in New York, but they've been doing it for 20, 30 years across the country for their early voting. It's a great tool, and I wish more people would take advantage of it.
You're the elections commissioner, but are you then John Q. Citizen? Do you have to do the whole process, or do you just go in the back room, grab a ballot? What do you do?
I have it mailed to my house. I do.
You have to do it like everybody, like John Q.
Well, and I want my vote to be counted, so I have to do everything right as well. So
right. You can't just grab and I know that sounded like, but I'm just like, yeah. How do you have to do it, right?
Yeah. Normally, I will go to a polling place and request a ballot from an elected inspector and get it myself. And but now this year I did an early vote by mail, so I had it sent to my house, filled it out, and I dropped it off on my way into work. I didn't mail it back.
What's the and so what do we have to look for? Is there more than one proposition? I know there's at least one.
There's one proposition for most ballots. It's the Equal Rights Amendment proposition that changes the New York Constitution to give equal rights to women, LGBTQ, protects abortion access. Voting yes on that would put that in the New York Constitution. Voting no on that would not. So that's on every ballot. There's a ballot in Geddes about moving their supervisor to a 4-year term instead of a 2-year term. Mm-hmm. But that's it. Those are the only propositions in Onondaga County.
And then everything else is so if I want to find out, I remember I called you about this last year. If I want to find out what my ballot looks like because we don't have any local races in our communities, just the state, right, and the county ledge.
Well, it depends. There's about 8 or 9 towns that have 2 fill vacancies on local races this year. So and a lot of them are contested. So there are races going on right now.
So how do I find out what my ballot looks like?
Go to my website, onvote.net. We have all of your sample ballots on there. You can go to the sample ballot page. We have about 50 different types of ballots in Onondaga County, or maybe even more. So there's a guide to picking your ballot so you can see it. And if you have any questions, if you're having trouble with that, give us a call, 315-435-VOTE, and we'll walk you through it.
Well, so I was going to try to bring it up on the screen so people can see it, but I didn't plan this ahead of time. So because I was going to say, okay, because,
well, you can bring up any sample ballot there, George. If you just go to onvote.net and look at the sample ballot page, you can just bring up anyone. It doesn't have to be yours. You can show the people.
All right. Well, so let's because when I put it in, it asked me for my date of birth and my name and my zip code. So
I think you're looking at the check your voter registration button.
Oh, that's the wrong page. All right. So I love doing this live because
doing it live. Here we are.
Right, because this is
if you go to onvote.net under voting or voting information, there is a page that says sample ballots. And then you can
no, we're gonna share screen. We're gonna do this for real.
All right.
Now, if I could only find out where it is. Okay, here it is. Okay. So we're gonna share this screen. We're gonna have fun here. Okay. No.
There we are.
All right. So we're there?
Yep.
All right. So now
you want to go under voting information.
Okay, let me just get rid of this because this is driving me crazy. Okay, so we're gonna
under voting information.
Voting information. So here we go.
Then you go to sample ballots.
Sample ballots.
And see, there's a whole bunch of styles there. Now, see that click here button at the top. You can scroll up a little bit, George.
All right, I'm trying to get over there. Click where?
No, yeah, there it is. See that click here button at the top? That's our sample ballot guide.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
That will help you navigate to tell you where.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. This is so helpful because there's a million ballots. And now you can pick your. So
do you know what election district you live in there, George?
I do. I think I don't. No, I don't. But
here, DeWitt, though, right? You're in the town of DeWitt.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all sample ballot 5. So go back now. Okay. Go back to your other tab.
Oh, yeah, go back. Where's go back?
Go back to the other tab right up at the top right-hand corner of your browser.
Yeah, I can see it's just not there. It's
yeah, no, because you opened up the sample ballot guide. Boy, this is great television. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right here. Right here.
There you go. Yeah, hit that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so go to ballot style 5.
Okay, there we go.
Now this is your sample ballot. This is your ballot.
Oh, this is what. All right. So look.
Yep, you can see what's on the ballot. You can see what your choices are. Obviously, you can't print this ballot and vote on it. You got to get a ballot from us, either at the polling location or at the Board of Elections for an absentee. But this is what your ballot will look like on election day if you're in the town of DeWitt.
All right, so you got your presidential candidates, Senate, United. I didn't know the Senate. I didn't know that. I didn't even know Kirsten Gillibrand was even running.
That she is. She's running for re-election.
I've not seen one commercial.
She was just endorsed by the paper a couple of days ago.
Oh, I missed it. Okay, and you have Michael. I don't even know who to say his name. Sapercone.
Yeah,
Brandon Williams and John Mannion, Nicholas Powell, Christopher Ryan, Daniel Cicerelli, Pamela Hunter, Christina Beati, Jason Ziegler, and then the proposition, and that's it. So that's actually pretty simple.
Yeah, for that town, it's pretty simple. For other towns, you might have one more race on the ballot, but yeah, it's pretty simple.
So. All right, let's go back over here. Do you want to look at another ballot?
You want? I don't have these memorized.
Well, we're gonna go to ballot 17.
So, okay.
I don't know
This
who
looks
that.
like it's in the 126th Assembly District. So a southern tier ballot in the southwest corner of our county.
Okay.
So yeah, but almost all ballots look like this. See that town justice over there? That's blank
Yes.
in that town because there is a town justice race, but nobody's on the ballot for that.
So what happens? They write people's name in, and
Yep.
and then the write-in candidate can win, or does he have to get a certain
Yeah,
sheet?
I'm not sure about that one. I don't know what town this is, so I don't want to speak too much on that. But
All right, so we know this is ballot 17. So let's go back to our list. Where's our list? And how do
that's
we?
Camillus.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's Camillus.
yeah.
All
There's a
right.
town justice up in there. That may not be. There may not be.
Oh, there it is. Yep, Town of Camillus. Okay.
So
All right. Well, that was fun.
yeah,
So people at home, you see what you have to do, right? It's pretty simple. Voting information, sample ballot, and then it shows what your ballot is. And so then, and then in Syracuse, in the city of Syracuse, we should probably look at that too.
yeah. There's a city court judge race in the city of Syracuse. It's uncontested. There's two positions up. Only the Democrats have candidates up for that.
Okay, so very good. All right, and I think, did we want to take a look at that? I guess we should, right? It's not.
I think people got the.
They got the idea. They got the
I
idea.
don't know the ballot style off the top of my head.
All right. Anything else we need to know about the election day, voting? Did we cover everything? Oh, that your ballot must be postmarked by election day.
That's
Very
right.
critical. I would have been remiss. I would have got calls. You didn't tell them that the thing has to be postmarked by election day. Has to be postmarked by election day. What else?
Yes.
Anything else before we go?
We're here to help. Give us a call. We're working every day right now. We don't have a day off, so we're here while early voting's going. We have staff in the office to answer your questions. 315-435-VOTE. Go to our website, onvote.net. There's a lot of information on there. You can still get an absentee or early vote by mail ballot. You can request it in person up to November 4th. Early voting runs until November 3rd. And then election day is November 5th. The longest election hours in the country, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Inspiration for the Nation. Dustin Czarny, Democratic Elections Commissioner for Onondaga County. 435-VOTE.
Yes.
435-VOTE. That's area code 315. Thank you, Dustin. Good work.
Thank you, George. Always a pleasure.
Inspiration for the Nation.